Anyways, right?
Welcome to Death and sorry, I have to allow you to record as
I
well.
was just about to say. Okay, great.
Okay,
Excellent. We did it.
perfect. Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And Courtney, how are you?
I'm okay. I've been back in New Orleans almost a week now. So, you know, here we
You
are.
know,
Here we are.
I was told that I was going to get the most exciting information of my life on this episode of the podcast of
Oh
whatever
my
you did on
God.
Friday.
I went and saw Andy Grammer.
Did you?
And you know how much I love him.
I
He brings me so
know.
much joy. It was a pretty good weekend. I went and saw Andy Grammer. It was the first time Rachel ever saw him live. It's my like fourth time or something.
Yeah.
I've seen him, a couple times. Um, but yeah, so it was really good. It was so much fun. It was really short because he didn't have an opener. We went to Biloxi to go see him, and then Saturday we went to a crawfish boil, and that was super fun too. So it was a busy weekend, but it was
Yeah.
fun. And then I had to take a nap before we recorded today, but it's okay. I'm making it through, getting ready for my next flight out of town.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm okay. I worked Jesus Christ Superstar this weekend.
I thought you were going to say I
And
worked. Jesus Christ.
no, I worked at a Jesus Christ Superstar tour this weekend. And hopefully no one who listens to this podcast is involved in this tour in any way because I'm about to say some really horrible things. First of all, their rider had in it specifically that no one is allowed to talk to them. I'm
I'm hanging with
sorry.
someone in that tour.
Why?
We'll talk about it after.
Mm. Um, and then apparently, one of the Jesuses did not get along with a lot of the other cast. And I know this because one of my crew guys came up to me last night and said, "Was there issues with Jesus?" And I was like, "Why do you ask?" He goes, "Because you could tell from the audience that nobody wanted to be talking to him." And I was like,
Maybe he shouldn't be on tour.
yeah.
Oh my
He also
goodness.
told one of the other PMs, so they set off the fire alarms with their showers, despite having been told 100 times that you have to close both the dressing room door and the bathroom door, or you will set off the fire alarm with the showers because we have to disable everything because you have so much smoke in your show. And then they didn't. And so my friend who was working the show Friday night asked, there had happened to be a couple cast members in the green room, and she was like, would one of you just mind running upstairs and checking this dressing room? And he literally said to her, that's not what I'm here for.
Wow.
Um,
Well,
so I'm sure the production was lovely. They also didn't bring the correct cleaning materials to get the glitter off of our stage floor, and then we're surprised that we didn't just have them, even though they didn't tell us to have them.
yeah.
So like it was a shit show. Um,
Wow.
but like hopefully people enjoyed it from the audience because let me tell you, it was not fun backstage.
Yeah.
Um,
What a time.
Honestly, Paw Patrol was better to work than that.
Well, those people
And
are probably like super happy though.
I know. I love them.
You know,
I've never done a Paw Patrol that I didn't absolutely love them. I did, I mean, Christopher and his Paw Patrol cohort, the best.
right.
Christopher started a new production in Long Island.
Foxtel. I saw that.
Yeah. Did you see the TikTok videos of him like from backstage, like of him actually performing?
I don't think I follow him on TikTok. I think
Mm.
I'm just friends with him on Facebook.
Okay, well, he sounded great.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure they're the same ones he posted on Facebook that I didn't watch because I'm bad at watching videos on Facebook. But I'm sure he did a great job.
Yeah.
So
I wish that I had a reason to go to New York in the next 3 weeks to see it, but it's not
I
gonna
mean, I'll be
happen.
there.
Yeah. The game for 2024 is what state is Courtney recording from?
I will mostly be recording from New Jersey and New Orleans, but it will not be a normal time necessarily. And you'll never know what state I'm in when you actually like see these videos. I'm
No,
never sure what state I'm in by the time these videos come out. So
that's true. Yeah, because
good luck to you figuring it out.
some of the states that you'll be going to, you won't be recording in them, but you will be there when an episode comes out. So good luck.
I'll be in
Um,
Connecticut for 2 days, and one of those days is a Sunday. So,
that's great. Aren't you going to
you know,
where is the festival that you're going to?
I'm going to a conference in Nashville.
Oh yeah, cool.
My
So
next, like in 2 weeks, I'll be Nashville, New York, Connecticut. Well, New York, Nashville, New York, Connecticut is my next trip for like 2 weeks. And then I'll be back.
yeah, I won't be going anywhere for a while because I'm poor.
Yeah. Look, I feel that every day. I've been just like working my life away. Literally, I had to have a nap today. So,
I did nothing but sleep all day. But before we get started, since we're living such hectic, chaotic lives, Courtney, can you give us a dose
oh my
of
God, I
spiritual?
sure can. But you have to give me a moment to open my app because I sure did not open it. Um,
Get it together.
Look, that's sad. That's that's also a little sad. Okay. Your tenderness is a gift, your gentle heart is a strength, and your willingness to see the best in people is the light that this world desperately needs. Topher Kirby.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I really wanted to use the quotes from that as a way to introduce our guest. Um,
I
but
mean,
I don't know that seeing the best in everyone is his strong suit.
got a little light
Well,
in you.
he is a light though. Today we are joined by Doug.
Hello.
Hi,
Um,
welcome
I,
back.
Like Sam Rick from Game Changer, I have been here all along.
it's true. He was sitting next to me all the time.
Mm.
And interestingly, my writer also specifies that no one's allowed to talk to
That is very inconvenient for a podcast.
me.
Yes, so today we are talking about Stargate SG-1 Season 5, Episode 19, Menace. And as soon as Doug finished recording with us the last time he recorded, he specifically said, I want to come back for this episode. It's like, okay.
For purely
So here you
emotional.
are.
Yes. It was rated 7.9 stars, which is not very high.
It's not very high.
This is IMDb stars.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, IMDb is notoriously crap anyway, so.
It's true, but they do tend to. This one tends to the numbers don't really work out, but the episodes that Courtney and I tend to like better are usually rated higher, just not necessarily
Correctly.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out on April 26th, 2002. The number one song was Foolish by Ashanti.
What a time.
The number one book was The Nanny Diaries by Emma McLaughlin and Nicola Krauss. Have not read it, but I've definitely watched the movie.
I have done neither, but I am
I
familiar
didn't.
with its existence.
And the number one movie was The Scorpion King.
Perfect.
Also haven't seen it.
The,
So
the
I am
best CGI of all time.
That's a timeless classic.
It is. On this day, I really couldn't find anything that wasn't super depressing. Because there was a massive school shooting in Germany.
excellent.
This was a Tuesday.
Good times.
Well, in Germany though. So,
Right.
yeah. This kid was 19. He got expelled from his high school for forging a sick note, and then for 6 months never told his parents he was expelled and continued to leave the house every day as if he was going to school, to go to the library, to watch videos on Columbine, and then went and shot up his high school.
You would think someone would notice.
Right?
Like
He got
you're
expelled.
in public.
He got expelled at the end of October.
I didn't know you
And
could get
this-
expelled for forging a note.
I
I also didn't know that.
I don't think you can in America.
I for sure forged notes because my mom was never home when I left for school. And so if I forgot to get stuff signed.
Well, he forged a medical note, so he forged it from a doctor, not from his
Oh,
parents.
that feels just like illegal though. I still don't think you can get
Yeah.
expelled, but like you might get in trouble.
I mean, yeah, you'd get in trouble, but I would be surprised if I mean, unless it was like happening all the time. I'd
Yeah.
be surprised if someone got expelled for that.
But yeah,
When you
so
were
that
like
was
at a medical school, then you might get expelled.
Well, yeah. I'm thinking that this kid was probably not in a medical school.
You know,
no.
I guess
Yeah.
not.
Wow. So the day it
I guess probably
released
not.
is giant school shooting, and then
Yeah.
later we have to talk about the day it was filmed, which is also not a happy day.
Not every day, no.
Mhm.
We'll leave that as a teaser and get back to it.
It was directed by Martin Wood. The teleplay was by Peter DeLuise. The story is by James Teichner, who is known for Stargate, Fido, and the Twilight Saga Eclipse.
We've had a lot of Eclipse guys.
Yeah, he's actually a VFX supervisor for all of those things. None of those things that he's known for has to do with writing. He really did not write really at all. But
He didn't even write this episode. He just did the story.
exactly. And I learned a very weird thing about the way film or VFX producers are credited on TV shows because while Doug and I were watching the commentary version of this episode, I was staring at IMDb trying to figure out why this man was not credited for
So
this
you
episode.
actually solved this problem afterwards?
No, I didn't. I think that what
Okay.
you said was correct, that there's so many producers that they just like rotate who gets the credit for it on the IMDb because he's listed as the producer for like 3 episodes, but if you like go into it, and like read his like bios and things, he was a producer for the whole season. But then when he was nominated for an Emmy, the list of people he shared that nomination for was very long. So I was like, that makes sense. Yeah. So he was a VFX supervisor for the seasons 2, 3, and 4, and he was one of the producers for the visual effects for the rest of the series for Stargate SG-1.
And at the time, I think they had some sort of integrated, like they had houses that they were working with, but they also had some in-house stuff for Stargate, and then later they brought more and more of that in-house
Yeah.
in Vancouver. Like some of those local houses that were working for them were basically just working for Stargate at the time. So I think there was a lot of cross-pollination and stuff there too. So they probably just spread the producer credits around,
Yeah.
even if they kind
Makes
of
sense.
functionally kind of were fluid in who was working on what on any given day.
Yeah. And I think he worked a lot more on this episode because he also did the story for it. So he was
Yeah.
more like mentally aware of what needed to happen.
Yeah.
The editing was Brad Rhines. And the guest star, Danielle Nicolette. She is known for Central Intelligence, Born Again Version, and Virgin, I can't speak, and The Flash.
But like way later.
Way later. Yeah.
I don't know about that other stuff. I mean, The Flash is like 20 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Central Intelligence was what,
It was
2017, 2018 that it came out?
I think so. I think it was
Yeah.
after The Flash that it came out.
It was definitely, I have a friend who's in that movie and we worked together in Disney in 2016. So it was definitely filmed after 2016.
Yeah.
What does she play in that movie? Is she just
I
like
think it was just like a random name bit part. Yeah, it wasn't.
She's not like
It's
The Rock's wife or
It
something.
did come out in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Because that's like a buddy cop comedy type thing. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And The Flash came out in 2014. So
She began her career in gymnastics.
She's short enough.
Yeah, she's very
Mhm.
small.
Tiny human.
Which also apparently, I just realized how small Terrell Rothery is to this episode. So that was fun.
She is very small.
She's very small. She's only 5'2". Amanda
Taller
Tapping
than
is Amanda Tapping is 5'9", and then the 3 guys are 6 foot, 6'1", and 6'3", and so Jana is very
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
There's the scene when she looks in the microscope and she has to stand on a box and
Yeah.
look in the microscope.
Yeah.
If you're paying close attention, which is pretty adorable.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So the episode starts with the team on a planet that appears to have once been an advanced civilization, but is now covered in overgrowth, no survivors. And there are energy readings coming from the middle of a cave. And there is a body covered in a veil on a table inside the cave. The body is perfectly preserved, and they think it might be a tomb, but Sam says she thinks it's more likely to be a science lab because the energy readings are coming from the girl. And that is
Should someone dun dun dun?
yeah,
Um,
that is everything that happens pre-credits.
Also, the initial matte painting, CGI matte painting for this is one of the ones that holds up, I think, least
Yeah.
when put into HD on a giant screen. Like I remember it being fine back in the day when it was on a little television, but it didn't hold up great.
No. But
Yeah.
it is also weirdly one of the ones that they had to actually go somewhere else to shoot.
Or at least they took plates from.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably like little bits.
The
Without seeing a breakdown, it'd be hard to say for sure.
yeah, the jungle is at the beginning of the planet is Costa Rica.
They use photographs of Costa Rica, but then everything's so heavily modified, it doesn't even look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's on screen for like 3 seconds. It's not like
Mhm.
it's not a big deal, but I did notice that. I did go, ooh, that's 2000. That's 2001 or
Yeah.
2002. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it was
No,
filmed.
it was made in 2001.
Yeah.
Released in 2002.
So
Oh, now do we get into the other happy date?
if
thing?
you want to, we can talk about that now.
Sure. I mean, they talk about it at the beginning.
Yeah.
So the beginning scenes were shot on 9/11, so that's fun.
And if
Yeah.
you'll notice, and we talked a little bit about it last week, but this I learned in the commentary. Christopher Judge had family in New York, which is one of the reasons why Teal'c is in this episode as little as possible because he was not.
Just like not
Well,
meant.
No.
Yeah.
He's like barely in the episode.
And I think there's one scene of his face that the director was like commenting in the commentary about how heavily amounts of makeup it is to make it look like he was himself because he was not.
Yeah, I could imagine. I'm shocked he was in it at all if he had family in New York. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where like, do you just sit there and stare at the screen or do you do work? Because
Right.
what else do you do?
I mean, I'm sure it's
Yeah.
also a little bit coincidental too, because it's not like I don't think they re-scripted significant chunks of anything to like remove him. It was already not a heavy Teal'c episode.
Yeah, but they
But I
did
think they were able to just
tweak
kind
some
of
stuff.
Yeah, they were able to kind of leave out a little bit of Teal'c stuff here and there, just to give him some space.
The other thing that the commentary told us was that initially they weren't going to have a veil over the girl's face. They were just going to have her covered in dust, and then it was not working out well.
Can you imagine cover someone in dust without it being just like
Disgusting.
I would sneeze the entire time. I would never make it through. Like
the
that's
logistics on
miserable.
that? That's the sort of thing that like some movie special effects person would take like months to figure out, and
Yeah.
he's not doing that on a TV budget, so you
Mhm.
just like veil,
Absolutely not. Yeah.
pain in the butt.
After the credits, we're back at the SGC, and Jack is video calling to report their findings. And Sam has determined that she is some kind of robot, but she's inactive. So they decide to bring her back to the SGC to determine more, because that's always a good idea.
Bring a robot that you don't know what it's gonna do back to base when you know other robots have come to base and not done well.
I mean, what kind of show would it be if every time they found something interesting, they were like, "Nope," and just left it there and just walked away?
Well, they just leave Daniel there. That's what they do half the time. I feel like is Daniel just ends up in that spot with her. He could be left there. He can figure out what's wrong with her.
Although
And then they go back
based
and get him.
Although based on the direction this episode went, Daniel is probably the last person we should leave there.
Look, I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Daniel should never be left alone with people, especially women people. So
Does she
he
count as
just-
working people?
I don't know.
yeah, enough.
She has the mind of a child.
Eh.
Yeah,
But he didn't know that at the time.
They also make it clear that so does Jack.
I do love
True.
that scene with the magnifying glass. It's like he has the mind of a child right behind Jack. It's like it's such it's so good.
So they analyze this robot and find that she has some kind of self-repairing nanotechnology in her that is deactivated when disconnected from her.
Mhm.
I just want to know when you figured out that things were going to go horribly wrong.
I mean,
When the episode
I
started.
anticipated from the beginning because especially since I knew like Doug wanted to be on this episode, he wouldn't have wanted to be on it if it was just a boring episode that nothing happened. So I was like, for sure,
Fair.
hell's
Ooh,
gonna
like
break
what?
loose.
What is your example of a boring episode where nothing happens?
I mean, they just have a robot that they just like try to figure out. She wakes up and then they can't figure out her plan.
I
And like
mean,
it's just her. And they've been
yeah.
like, ton of other
And
episodes where I'm like, I don't know why we have this.
I
There
mean,
hasn't
I
been
think
so many. I don't know what it was.
there's some pretty good season 1 episodes that are just kind of like,
I mean, the Snowball Man.
oh yeah, that one's really
You know?
bad.
Wait, which one?
The one with the white aliens that are like allergic to sound.
Oh yeah,
That one's bad.
that one's pretty slow. Yeah.
Emancipation is pretty rough,
Mhm.
which is the one where Sam gets kidnapped by Mongols.
Oh, I don't mind that one too much.
No, but in terms of
But yeah,
like
the sound people one is very slow moving.
yeah, and the Emancipation's okay, but in terms of like wild things going horribly wrong,
Yeah, I mean the stakes never get beyond we have to save Sam.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's I don't know.
The first
The
the
stakes
first
need to be-
Comtroya episode,
Which one?
the one where they
Troy.
where they get their consciousnesses put into the robot bodies.
Oh, yeah.
I do that right?
Yes.
Troy.
Yes. So I mean, there are
Yeah.
definitely lower stakes episodes, but
And we've had a higher stakes season. So I felt like
That's
if this was
true.
one of the better ones, it would have to be even higher stakes than what we've seen
yeah,
recently.
season 5 does have some pretty high stakes things happening.
I enjoy Controya episodes.
Well, I do too. I just don't think the stakes are.
That is a great mind F
Oh yeah.
to be like, and not only are you not fixing this, but you are stuck here forever because the real people have to go back to Stargate. Tough luck. The
kind of a bummer.
existential dread
Oh, I know.
is so strong, and I love it.
So then they find the mechanism to open her power source, and a disk drive just pops out of her neck. Like an old school CD-ROM on a PC.
Well, except it's not it's a battery. It's your battery.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
looks like when you pop the button on
It
the
does.
seat.
Except that the button
Right.
is like on her neck somewhere else. You can't they don't
You
actually
don't
show
see it, yeah.
Right.
Um,
I agree with the visual effects producer from the commentary who complains that it feels like an unnatural place for that to be. And I agree
yeah.
that
He
it
was saying
feels
that-
like there should be a better it feels like if you're gonna build that into a robot, it would
It
be in a
wouldn't be
different
like
location.
cutting across the veins in your neck that way. It's
Mhm.
weird. But then we have a quick scene where Daniel is explaining the anthropology of the human obsession with artificial intelligence to Jack, who just does not give a single fuck.
Yeah, no, he does not care.
That's typical.
And then Sam decides to explain all the reasons why it would be a great idea to activate the robot. And Jack does not agree.
Well, how else
You
are gonna
know, Jack is
find-
Jack is
Would
doing
you-
okay.
Given the option, would you upload your consciousness to a robot body?
I don't think so.
I don't know if I would. Have you watched the TV show Upload yet?
No.
I
I'm not
haven't.
caught up on it. It's on
So
Amazon.
until I have, my answer is yes.
Well, I think it leans me more towards yes, but I haven't seen the last season yet, so I don't know. I could be
Right.
wrong. It might have all gone wrong.
Gotcha.
But it's on Amazon. You should watch it. There's 3 seasons.
I
Okay, I'll
mean,
watch the final season.
here's the thing. If you told me that I was going to be able to like do everything exactly the same as this robot, but like I wouldn't continue to get sick just from like looking at myself wrong, then maybe I would because
Maybe tomorrow.
I'm like
Mm.
ill all of the time for no reason.
But you do have to like oil your joints regularly.
Yeah.
Like,
I already
you-
do.
But then you also can't eat, which is a bummer.
No, see, that's
Ooh.
not going to work for me.
Yeah.
I love
I don't know.
food.
I don't know, dude.
but on the other hand, you can plug yourself into a wall outlet. Maybe that's pleasurable. Who knows?
There's no way to know.
No. No, I
So-
don't. I don't know. I don't like
Not
where
at
this
not at
conversation's
moment.
going. Um, so
I
there,
just had to bring it up. It's
that's
important.
I might would upload my consciousness into a robot if it was like a last ditch effort, like if it was like you're dead or you're a robot. Like I don't know, I might would do it.
Well, yeah, sure. If it's a last ditch effort, but that's making it easy. That's cheating.
I don't know, I might not still, depending depending on what it means on the other side.
I
I just asked students today as their like prompt question at the beginning of class, if you could choose, if a genie gave you a proposition, and he was like, "I'll make you immortal, but the trade-off is that you're never allowed to see any of your family ever again." Would you do it? And most of them did not. Most of them actually love their families. So,
wow, good
Aw.
for them. I for sure wouldn't be able to do that. I like my family a lot.
oh no, I would totally just be like, "Bye, family, never see you again."
I have caveat
I don't have
questions.
feelings
Like
that I'm gonna.
visibly see them or like never be able to associate with them again, because those are different answers, I think. If I just
Ooh.
can't see them, I might be
Actually,
okay,
the way
but
it was
like,
phrased was never talk to them again. So I guess you could see them from a distance, but you could never like
oh, that's
interact with
worse
them
though.
or communicate.
That's worse than just like being blind when
You
you're
could
in the same
never
room as them.
communicate.
That is worse.
But also, like, what constitutes family?
That's true too.
Is it just people you're like biologically related
It
to?
was a short prompt. I didn't delve into the minutia of what defines family. Because on a long enough timeline, all of the human race is family, and then you
Yeah.
can talk to anyone.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Kind of like
Um,
I'm gonna
vampires
say
still.
only down to the second cousin.
I mean, if you think about like vampires, that happens to them. They're, immortal and eventually all their family dies. And so they live this whole
Yeah.
existence with building a new family. So
unless they're insane, like in all of the
But it's the curse. The curse is
Vampire
probably in
Diaries.
perpetuity, right?
it's what?
Perpetuity. Like if you,
Yeah.
got married, then that person would become your family, and then you couldn't talk to them anymore.
Oh, so you're saying it's not like a one hit and then you're over. Any
I think
family
it
that
would
becomes your
be-
family.
Yeah, I think if anyone becomes
See,
your
that's-
family, then you can't talk to them anymore.
Oh, for sure, not gonna happen then. I
no,
would make
because
family too fast.
Yeah. But then you could also just like marry everyone that you hated that you didn't ever want to be around anymore, just to get them to like become not at all a part of your life.
It seems like it's
That's a
less
mood.
difficult to just avoid the people you don't like than it is to marry you. That's just me, though.
But like if you get bored, eventually you're gonna want to do something crazy, and that feels like it might be a fun outlet at some point in your immortal existence.
Like it's just a game with yourself. Like, can I get
Yeah.
someone who absolutely loathes me to marry me?
Right. I can see it.
That's twisted. I don't like that at all.
No, you would cut off your entire family
I'm-
for the rest
right,
of time, but you
I'm-
would never play a twisted mind
I'm
game.
more okay with cutting off my family for the rest of the time than playing twisted mind games like that. Yeah, because at least one of them is honest.
Could be honest and twisted. Depends.
Anyway, so this robot's pretty cool. It even has a disk drive.
So they replaced her battery and they wait, and eventually she wakes up. She tells them that her name is Reese, and she's like super discombobulated, has no idea where she is, keeps asking where her father is. And they start to tell her about why they brought her there, and she like doesn't seem to understand anything that's happening. And
She's like a child.
yeah, and then she asks them why they want her, and they said that they want to understand how she works. And she was like, I don't get it. I'm a person. And they're like, oh.
Oh, honey.
Bless her heart.
So
Oh dear.
then Daniel, Sam, and Jack go to have a powwow where they discuss whether or not they should tell Reese that she is not human. And Daniel makes the point that deciding what is and isn't a life form hasn't exactly done them very well in the past. And that they should give it a minute before they like break it to her and try to figure out what's really happening in her mind. And they don't know if she is a robot or if she's just like a stored consciousness in another body. And once again, Jack is not on board with the plan, but it's like, whatever, you guys do you, I guess. Um, and so then Reese is asking Daniel all about his planet, and she asks to go see it, but he was like, but we need to know more first. Um, but then when he asks her about the danger that like destroyed her planet, she gets really upset and won't talk to him. That's a really good sign.
Always a good sign when they shut
I
down
mean,
quietly.
I love which is part of why I was so surprised at your IMDb recap of what's her name? Something Nicolette. What's her
Yeah.
name?
Danielle Nicolette.
Danielle
Yeah.
Nicolette. That her IMDb page is, well, you just said the highlights.
Yeah.
I don't know what else she's been in, but that she's not a little bit more known of an actress is like all of like this. The reason I wanted to be on this episode is because this is like one of my personal favorite episodes. And I don't think it's like objectively the best episode of Stargate, but it might be my favorite episode of Stargate. And a big portion of that is I just love her performance as the android.
Yeah.
Like the kind of back and forth of sinister to playful to am I messing with you to am I innocent is just so like riding the line and subtle and interesting basically throughout. And it kind of just makes the episode work. Her and Daniel's conversations
Yeah.
are so tight. I absolutely love, I will get to in a second, but I absolutely love their interaction later too when he kind of comes back around and they're having that chat. I guess I shouldn't get ahead of your kind of going there, but
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that because one of the things that I had for trivia as for the episode as a whole is that Joseph Mallozzi, as soon as he saw her working on set, wanted to figure out how they could not kill her because she was so good. He wanted to be able to bring her back. And I do think she's a phenomenal actress, but it's unfortunate that she really hasn't. I mean, her role on The Flash was a recurring, like a consistent role.
Well, that I was
I kind of
surprised that
stopped
they
watching by that point, and
Yeah.
what I heard is that her character, like from the writer's side of things, did not get
what it
good stuff
deserved.
did
Yeah.
not get like good stuff to do.
Which
But I don't know. I guess I'm just sad. It's a little bit late now, like 20 years later, to be like, it'd been nice if she got,
Yeah,
better
I know.
stuff, but
I was surprised by that because
criminally
whenever they
underrated
introduced her in
actress.
this episode, it really felt like she was, gonna be this big character. I thought maybe she was gonna be, added in, and she did do such a good job that I was like, I think she's one of the, better guest stars we've had. And so I was also very surprised when she was killed.
Also,
That's not
something
what I was
that
expecting.
something that surprises me a little bit with Stargate, because so many other shows do it, is that like you said, it'd be nice to have her come back either as a guest star, but like also like how fun would it be like have an android like go on adventures with you?
Yeah, that's what
I
I
love
thought
that.
this was gonna be. I thought
Yeah,
this is where
and
this
they
was
never-
going.
And they never do that. Like there's never they
yeah.
don't like add additional members to the team
No.
really as a thing.
They don't.
Generally
They
speaking.
do tend to kind of have like an anti-AI bias. Like every time that there's some kind of robot, it doesn't turn out well for the robot. Like or there's some kind of weird feelings about it for the other people. Like there's definitely like an anti-AI bias in Stargate.
I feel like this was also
no
just like
point.
at that time there was a
Yeah.
huge anti-AI bias. I mean, you have all
At
the
that
movies that
time,
have come
robots
out.
were still like the Terminator. They weren't.
Yeah,
Or like the bug in your computer that was going to kill the world in Y2K. So
right.
Right. We're more evolved now.
Mhm.
We've come a long way. Civilization.
Back on the planet that she came from, there is a major who has been exploring and bringing some stuff to Jack and Teal'c from what they found. And they find all these tiny little metal pieces that they can't identify. So they give them to Jack, who of course immediately can identify them.
Yeah, and
And
it
at this
plays that.
moment,
It plays the replicator little theme, like the two little bar theme motif or
Yeah.
leitmotif. The musical sting, the replicator
Yeah.
musical sting, and your heart just skips a beat, and you're like, replicators.
Well,
Yeah.
I immediately thought she
loved
was a
that as a kid.
replicator. I don't really know how that would have worked, but I was just like, is she like a replicator herself? Is that why she's a robot and all these metal
I
things?
mean, in
I
a
was
way,
all-
she kind of
Yeah.
is.
yeah. But
Or at least she's like a progenitor. How do you pronounce that? Yeah, progenitor.
I think so. Yeah.
so
The great thing that Doug and I want to get everyone on board with in the whole world is something that
Oh yeah, we need to spread this for sure. Is
I'll put
that
it on the TikTok.
the little replicator pieces are made by Reese, therefore they are Reese's pieces.
they are. I love it.
And it's not, I can't
Ah.
take credit for it. It was in the audio commentary. They mentioned it. I don't know why this stuck with me or why this didn't
And
stick
why
with me.
hasn't
Like,
taken
the
off?
first, right. Like, I don't know why I didn't remember why it didn't stick with me like years ago when I watched the audio
Mhm.
commentary. And even more so, I can't explain why this is not like the default fandom term for replicators because it should be. Like,
Yeah.
from now on, all the replicators will be Reese's pieces to me.
Yeah.
In
I love
infinite,
it.
like for the rest of time. Like, that's what I'm going to call them. And I feel like
Yeah.
everyone who's part of the Stargate fandom should do
should.
so.
Yeah.
And the movement starts here. I want
Okay.
you to know,
I'll-
anyone watching and or listening to know, the movement starts here. Tell your friends.
I'll put it on
petition on
TikTok
change.org.
and you put it on Reddit and then we
Okay.
will take over the
That'd be
world.
great.
Call MGM. I presume that they still have a phone number that you can leave
Surely.
voicemail on.
Person who checks whether their merchandise
send
is correct or not.
You send an email.
No, we didn't. Because we just figured this out this weekend. Yeah.
For fun.
But-
I have to leave here for a second.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been talked about before on people stuff, but
This is while getting the DVD, the Blu-ray out to do the commentary, like listen to the commentary version, we realized that we were looking at the fact that the Stargate on the 3 series Stargate Blu-ray DVD collection
Mhm.
is not correct.
it is not, which is pretty staggering. So on the Blu-ray set, and like I said, this is not new things for most Stargate
Yeah.
fans, probably.
Yeah.
But
If you look at the
well, first off, of course, is the fact that that Daniel's not on the cover and should be, but that's a whole nother story. But on the side here, let's see, 1, 2. Oh, it's actually right. on the
it's right
side
here. So
It's right
it's
here.
there's 9. There are 9.
Mhm.
There should be nine chevrons. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, 9 chevrons.
Yeah.
There's 9 around the side.
And usually, and the way it's set up in the gate room is that only 7 are visible, and there are 2 under the pattern because you only use 7 when
Yeah,
you're
they're kind of
traveling.
under the floor.
So they're under the floor. But
But on if you have the entire, this is like the box set that has all 3 series in it, and you'll notice that there are only 8 chevrons on here, and they're spaced weird.
They
because-
are.
Because what has happened is instead of them being equidistant, they obviously have taken an image of the Stargate where the floor, let me flip this upside down, where the
Mhm.
floor where they like normally walk through is here. So they're walking through the Stargate. So they've taken that part of it and then they've copy and pasted the top ones and flipped it down.
and if you look
Down
at it,
here.
you can see that the symbols actually
can't-
are duplicated. So like it
Yeah.
is genuinely just
So
a mirror
funny.
copy and paste.
Yeah, so someone in Photoshop had a picture of the Stargate, but with the ramp in place, so they couldn't see the bottom. So they just copy and pasted the top 3 down to the bottom and called it a day. So now they're spaced weird and there's the wrong number on here.
Yeah, and this is the official DVD like Blu-ray
on the
box
official
set.
Blu-ray set from.
So I was like, MGM just like let that happen. He goes, I don't think MGM let it's even really a thing anymore.
They don't have anyone manning no one is manning the shop. This
No one's paying attention to the Stargate merch.
right. No one is
No.
paying attention in the shop.
That's
So
funny.
anyways.
That's wild.
So they won't be answering our phone calls, but
Right.
But we
right.
will, but I still want everyone to leave voicemails. Because
Great.
when the voicemail fills up, I imagine that the CEO has a phone on their desk with a red light and the red light starts blinking. And they're like, should we check on that? And then they go and they find that there are tens of calls on the MGM phone line. And they're like, that's interesting. should we do something about that? And the answer is no, but it would be nice. I would feel better. You'd feel better.
I would feel
You'd
better.
feel better. I
I
assume.
feel better.
I'm roping you
Yeah.
into this. I hope you
Yeah.
feel better.
I'm in now. I am in this now.
I'm good. So they're officially Reese's Pieces, and we shall refer to them as that for the rest of perpetuity.
So maybe we should call Mr. Reese's instead and have him get on the
This is a
horn
good
with
point.
MGM.
This is a good point.
Because-
Instead of spamming MGM's phone line, we should spam Hershey
Yeah.
chocolates.
Have
And
them spam MGM.
we should ask Hershey what made them decide to sponsor the replicators from Stargate. And if enough
Yes.
people do it, they will get confused and look into it.
Yes. I love it. I'm in. Doesn't take long to rope me into something like
And then
this.
6 months from now, we'll find out that Amazon has purchased Reese's.
And MGM.
Well, they already own MGM.
But they already,
Oh, right.
Amazon already owns MGM.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So the back at the lab, they are testing the Reese's Pieces, but they are totally dead. And it is the first evidence of replicators naturally occurring in our galaxy.
Naturally occurring.
Well, because the other ones were there, but it was because they got attached to Thor's ship. And,
Right.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Then the question is why the replicators would have left Reese alone, given that they eat through advanced tech.
Mhm.
Well, that
Valid
they try to
question.
take it and
Yeah.
use it.
So they think that she might be the key to defeating all of the replicators.
And fortunately, she is, and they defeat all of the replicators. The day is saved.
The end of Stargate. We've made it.
Yeah, they roll credits, and that's it.
Yeah. Luckily for the podcast, that is not actually how this goes. And Daniel is really sure that she's actually just hiding something from them. So they decide that the best way to solve this problem is to tell her the truth that she is a robot.
The truth does set you free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was on someone's bathroom wall.
Probably.
Oh, actually, this is a fun story. My cousin in her bathroom has a little plaque on her bathroom that says, "The ocean will set you free," which I'm sure seems nice, but every time I see it, I just imagine someone holding someone face down in the ocean and saying, "The ocean will set you free," as
Okay,
they drown
well-
them to death.
I immediately went to Finding Nemo. So
The ocean. We have to find the ocean.
Yeah.
The ocean will set you free.
I immediately just like went to the idea of being lost at sea and dying, of like just being lost in the middle of the ocean. So I don't know that any of us are mentally well.
All of our
I don't know.
reactions do say more about us as people than they say about that sign,
Yes,
probably.
I think so.
Um,
But also, if I ever have the opportunity to drown someone in the ocean, I am 100% going to say as I do it, "Set you free."
I want you to come back to the podcast and tell us about it.
Yeah.
I will.
If you do get to do that.
Okay. We'll
And
be recording from jail.
Sure.
so
That's
Daniel goes to tell Reese the truth and set her free. And she gives him this little statue that she's made, and she's like, I just want to leave this room. Earth is so pretty. I want to go everywhere. And he's like, no, but we need to talk some more. And she, as any preteen says, that talking is boring.
I love this conversation so much.
And
It's so good.
yeah.
I want to have fun. Don't you ever have fun?
He was like, no, I really don't.
It's like, after this, can we have fun? He's like, yeah. He's like, you promise? Yep. And then she does that little acting, that little like 5-minute stretch of acting that she does is so good, where she's like a puppy and like her face, she's upset, and then her face just lights up and she sits down like all expectantly like, okay, okay, we can talk. And then she's like leaning in, and then he starts and she's just like, this is boring.
Yeah.
I love it so incredibly much.
It's so
and it is
good.
that whole conversation is a large part of why I love this episode so much.
But-
It's so good.
Yeah, and as she's starting to get bored of this conversation, he tells her that she's an android, and she reacts by throwing him into a bookshelf across the room.
She does not react well, we'll say.
and then she like starts banging on the windows about how she needs to get out of there. It's just really scary. And then they're fixing up the wound on Daniel's head from being shoved into a bookshelf. And
It
uh,
hurts. It hurts.
and Jack is like, we should just shut her down. Like, this is not going well. We need to turn her off. And Daniel's like, she didn't mean to hurt me. She just didn't like what I said. And then my favorite line of the episode is when Jack says, I often don't like what you say, but I resist the urge to throw you across the room.
Shove you through a wall.
Yeah.
I know, right?
And Sam's like, but
Some heated tension here between
Jack
Jack
and
and
Daniel
Daniel this whole
Daniel.
episode.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not that they've had some tension between them like throughout the entire series to some extent, but I feel like it had
It's
at
like,
a certain point it kind of had subsided, like everyone was mostly on the same
Yeah.
page most of the time.
but it was, yeah, it's heated this episode.
And it is, yeah, it's heated. They're actually kind of at it a little bit.
Yeah.
And Sam, I don't know. Sam is also weird in this episode. Just, she's like not,
She's having like she's having a bad day. Like
Yeah.
maybe she's got a little bit of a cold or something. She's just not fully, she's like a little step behind usual Sam level for sure.
yeah,
for most
like
of the episode.
she's like letting Daniel and Jack just argue, and instead of like coming up with her own ideas, she just kind of like reluctantly agrees with Daniel 2 seconds too late for it to really be effective in the conversation most of the
Right.
time.
Yeah, and I
Um,
thought there was like some weird tension between her and Reese for a while. And then I realized Reese just doesn't like anyone, it seems, in there. She thinks they're all out to get her. But when they first came
No.
to sit down in the the viewing area, and she like went
Yeah.
hard at Sam in the face and was like, let me out. I was like, oh, she is not happy Sam is there. But I don't know that it was Sam specific or if it was like just all of the people in the viewing area. was
Yeah,
not
she's
happy.
just like doesn't like having people in the viewing area.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like having people in the viewing area either.
That would be weird to be
Same.
like if they made like a fake bedroom for you, but then also the only window in your fake bedroom was just a place where people could stare at you.
Just watch you.
I mean, it's basically Big Brother.
As I was saying
Like
that
being in the zoo.
I was like, as I was saying that, I realized I was literally describing like a gorilla enclosure at a zoo.
Yeah.
No, I was talking about the TV show, Big Brother.
No, that is true also, but I didn't
But yeah.
realize until mid-sentence that I was literally describing the zoo.
Though the gorillas like it when you watch them.
They do.
Have you ever done that thing where you convince everyone you're with to look away and ignore the gorillas and then look them up and like tap on the glass and be like, yo, why aren't you paying attention to us?
No,
It's fun.
I believe it.
A little
I
Next
scary.
time.
no.
It sounds scary.
Yeah.
I had one gorilla
The
who
zoo is scary.
hated me. There was this gorilla.
Specific gorilla?
Yeah, a specific gorilla. She had a
Specifically hated you.
she had a personal vendetta against
It
me.
wasn't just like all redheads or something.
No, it was me. So in the
Didn't call her name.
in the family troupe of gorillas at Disney's Animal Kingdom, the silverback, the male, he really liked me. Whenever I would work, he would move and like lay next to me.
She was jealous.
So she did not appreciate that. And every time I came to work and I walked past the gorilla, she would smack the window. And it was just me. She didn't do that to anybody else. It was just me. And one of the girls was like, why does Azazi hate you so much? And I was like, I wish I understood.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to have Dan and this gorilla fight to the death. The privilege of your
I would also like
I-
that.
I love Dan, but I think Gino would win.
I don't know, Dan's feisty. He would confuse it and then attack it from behind.
That's actually, he would be very easily confused. You just have to give him popcorn and he doesn't pay attention to anything else.
The zoo is a scary place. Did you know I don't know if this is the case at other zoos. At the Buffalo Zoo, there's a cockroach exhibit.
Yeah.
And the glass is concave. So if you like go to touch the glass or like lean on the glass, it's not where you expect it to be. It's like further in. So you like think that you're falling into the cockroaches. And it is a great, like, I don't know who decided that to do that.
Yeah.
Like the zoo staff, but like good job them. I
Um,
appreciate
That's
that.
terrifying.
the London Zoo
That's
has a
excellent.
spider exhibit that is a room that you walk into, and the spiders are like loose and open in the room and like building webs all around you. And I obviously made Dan go in there with me, and he did not
Oh my
enjoy
God,
it.
poor Dan. I hate everything about that.
What
We
kind of
have an
spiders are these?
insectarium here, but
Love
that
it.
they're all enclosed.
Yeah.
They're
What
and then
kind
you can
of-
usually
They were not like harmful spiders. The ones
Right.
that could
Doesn't
actually
matter.
hurt you were like separate, but it was just cool.
doesn't
Right. And I
matter.
assume that they're like they're not significantly worried about the spiders like escaping
No.
and like infesting London.
No.
Okay. They're not like replicators, which are also like spiders, but mechanical.
Yes. It's true.
I'd rather a
mechanical-
replicator than a
The Reese's
spider.
Pieces.
I wouldn't. No.
I would. I would.
Okay.
Sorry.
You have a death wish, but that's
If you had
might.
license to hunt your spiders with a 12 gauge shotgun in the same way that they hunt Reese's Pieces with a 12 gauge shotgun in the show, would you like spiders more or less?
I would like them less still. I feel like I'm not a great shot. I'm an okay shot, but not enough that I don't.
There's
think
just
they would
something
kick
very
me.
satisfying about how loud a shotgun is and how and how like the oomph of the replicators of the Reese's Pieces going like all over the place.
true.
It's
Yeah.
like when a child like knocks over a Lego set and
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
it's awful, but also like kind of satisfying.
Yeah.
But that's only because you built it. If you didn't build it, it's just satisfying. And
Yeah.
I get the same feeling when all the Reese's Pieces go scattering all over the place, just
Right.
rioting everywhere.
Fair enough. Speaking of Reese's Pieces, Daniel goes to see Reese, and she is like, "Do you forgive me? I forgive you too." And he was like,
What a great line. Like what a great, like passive aggressive way like that's written for her to show like how kind of
Yeah.
detached from reality she is and like immature she is.
"Yeah." She's like, "For attacking me," and he's like, "But
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah.
we have to talk about this. And she's
I
like,
don't know.
no, we have to have fun. He's like, no, we have to talk about this right now. Like,
Yes.
And
then she shows him
so you can have fun."
and then she shows him what she's been doing with her Reese's Pieces.
And she brings out her new toy replicator.
So
good.
cute.
Yeah, so they obviously take it and lock it up because what else do you do with
Immediately.
that? And they watch
And they're a new design of replicator too.
They-
A new pieces.
they
They
have-
have short legs.
Mhm.
And they're also silver instead of purple because they're made out of earth metals and not weird Asgard metals.
and they look almost like puppies. Like they're supposed to be cuter because they're her
They
toy.
are. Mhm.
Yeah,
They're
For
cuter.
sure.
Like 10% cuter.
yeah. As cute as a weird metal eating alien can be.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you know.
You'd pet one.
Yeah, I would.
Like humans keep Rottweilers. Like humans would pet one if it was there,
Oh,
if
yeah.
possible.
But totally.
So they watch like a video of how she like takes metal and just like makes it into the replicate like Reese's Pieces in her hands, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna call the Asgard and let them know that we have this robot that can understand the replicators." I don't know that at this point they realized that she made all of them.
I did.
Maybe.
I know you did. I don't think they did because they were
I
like,
don't know. I think
they were like, she seems to understand how they work if she's able to make them, so she might be able to stop them.
no, I think they understand. Or
It-
at least maybe they're not 100% sure, but
Yeah.
I think they're going down that.
The dialogue was a little bit like, "Oh, look at, we still have this sweet girl who understands things, who can help us," and like not quite in the she's
they are-
unhinged.
It didn't
kind of-
occur to me in the
Yeah.
but they go right to the next thought, which is she could possibly help us stop the replicators, and they skip right past the like, massive bombshell, like, holy crap, this is what started the replicators. Like there's no big like
Yeah.
reaction face moment of them being like, holy crap, this is where the replicators started. This is the origin, dun dun dun. What
Yeah.
can we do? Right. Yeah, that they kind of go right past. It's not like it isn't there, but it's not on screen. Like they go right past that to
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's definitely underplayed.
yeah. This for you.
So then Jack and Daniel go to talk to Reese together because Daniel can't be trusted to do it by himself anymore at this point. And she tells them that she taught her toys how to make more of themselves and defend themselves and defend her. And when she starts to get angry at Jack, the replicator that's locked up in the other room reacts and starts to get feisty itself.
And I think that's the scene. I think I'm thinking the right one too, but that's another really well acted scene where she's like, because they're like, what happened? And she's like, they killed everyone. Like, what he says, why
Oh,
did
yeah,
you go
yeah.
to sleep, right? Or is that later?
No, this is then because that's my next note is they destroyed everyone and
Yeah,
everything
they
on their
destroyed
planet.
everyone. They just killed my father, and I was alone, and so I went to sleep. And
Yeah.
that whole like,
It's
she
so
really,
sad.
she really wrings every bit of pathos
Yeah.
out of that speech, where she's just like, I was alone and I was sad,
She-
and I went to sleep because I was all by myself.
She was like, I made these toys and then they stopped
And they left, and they
and
just
they left me and I
there.
was alone and I was like, oh,
I felt that. It was
Yeah.
the ability to make you feel bad for her while also knowing that she's the cause of like the worst thing that's happening to the galaxy ever. It's like, oh,
it's a good one. This is just I just need to stop at this point and remind all IMDb users that they suck.
yeah.
Should be a higher score.
She then they tell her that they have to destroy the replicators, and she immediately takes the idea that they want to destroy the replicators as proof that they want to destroy her.
Right.
And so she will not be helping them at all.
That tracks. Like if
Yeah.
someone took one of my Legos and broke it, I would assume that they were trying to murder me, and then I would react by killing them.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
if
like-
someone tried to like take and injure Sadie, they would have to take me out first to get to
Yeah,
there.
but
So like, you know,
I was gonna say yeah, but Sadie's alive. And then I realized that I guess if you are
To
a
her.
robot, your other
Right.
robots would also be alive
Feel like
to
they're
you.
alive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and that's true. If whenever the kids like
At
hold
least on the same level that
in-
like a dog.
yeah, whenever the kids like pick Pip up in a way that makes me nervous, I like
Mhm.
You want to strangle them.
Yeah,
I do like the lizard more than the children. So
that's fair.
Also a weird throwaway line, but I feel like we should talk about it because it seems like it may be important in the future, is that SG-2 goes to Katau to talk to the Asgard and they are not responding. So Freyr is no longer coming to the Hall of the Gods there. So that seems like it might be important for the future.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure they're fine.
But so based on all the information that they've now collected and the fact that they can't get a hold of the Asgard, Hammond decides that they just need to shut her down until they can and they
Mhm.
have more help.
Which is a good call.
Yeah.
Good work, him.
Reese also somehow gets all the cameras to go offline, and when they try to get into the room to get them back on, they're surrounded by replicators who attack all the soldiers.
Yeah.
All acid burns, but don't kill them, which is interesting.
Hold on. Oh, all the soldiers died. That's the last thing I talked about.
Yeah.
No, they're fine. They're just
Oh no, that's not.
They're
They
just-
were attacked. They were not. Yeah.
Yeah.
An alarm goes off in the base, and it turns out not only are there replicators all over the base, Reese is missing.
Reese's and her pieces.
Yeah.
Does not bode well for the world. I was very nervous.
So Sam and a newly dressed in his greatest stealth gear Hammond.
T-shirt and combat glasses, Hammond.
Um
So exciting. He's showing off his guns.
they're trying to
I
shut
love
down
it.
all the computers. But it's too late because Reese and her replicators are already and I said Reese and her replicator army are in the gate room.
Mm-hmm.
So they discuss all their plans about how to turn her off, and Sam thinks that if the replicators might also turn off if Reese gets turned off, because they're still controlled by her. They have not gotten their own minds yet. but
Which feels like a gamble.
it does.
It
Um,
does, because the only time we've seen them before now, she wasn't there, and they were
Mhm.
still doing their own thing. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
So the replicators also get the power back on the base because they're doing
They're feisty like that.
yeah. So Daniel goes in alone to talk to Reese, and he tells her that she has to stop doing this so that they can be friends.
Yeah.
Um, and they have a really sweet conversation where he says that she doesn't need the replicators to protect her because he'll protect her. Um, and then immediately tries to turn her off.
Mhm.
yeah, not so subtly. He's
No.
He didn't do great.
No,
no,
the conversation and the getting her back on their side, 10 points. The problem is that
Absolutely.
he then immediately reached for the back of her neck in the least subtle way possible and lost all of those points.
Yep.
Mhm.
Um,
If only she'd come with a remote control.
That would have been nice.
Well, yeah, that's an oversight. The creator should
to
be
be
seen about that.
to be fair, there might have been a remote control somewhere
just didn't
on
find
the
it.
planet, but the replicators probably
Lost it in the couch cushions.
or used it to become more replicators. One of those replicators
Yeah.
was originally her remote control.
Too.
Yeah. So the replicators are attacking the base, and the SGD is attacking back, and Reese is freaking out because she can like feel the pain of the replicators getting shot, which was wild. Then Sam and Hammond set the self-destruct for the base because we're at the point where
Well, that's just standard operating procedure.
you have to.
When
Yeah.
things start to go a little wrong, you have to self-destruct. It's important to have a ticking clock on screen. They
Yeah.
teach you that. They teach you that at screenwriter school.
And so they have less than 5 minutes to solve all of the problems. The attacks are getting worse. And then we have the scene that is probably your favorite scene with Daniel talking to Reese about how she can still stop things.
No, where he's just like, your father made you wrong.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah, it was wild.
He goes hard.
Yeah. And he's like, but we can fix it, like we can make it right, blah, blah, blah. And it's really emotional. And she's crying and he's crying and everything's beautiful. And then Jack finally gets in the room and shoots her.
Yeah. Yeah.
They luckily shooting her does trigger all of the replicators to be disabled, and so now they just have to
That's it.
from what we saw.
Daniel, right, and she shut them down as she was dying.
Fair. That is the question.
Is the ponder. They should have edited out the whack when she falls off over the railing. It was out of place. Just a personal note.
But so Jack removes her chip and they abort the self-destruct, but then there's a really intense scene with Jack and Daniel where it takes me aback every time I see it for Daniel to actually like look Jack in the face and call him a stupid son of a bitch. I just
And
And
like
mean
he's
it.
like crying. Like when someone's crying and calls you a stupid son of a bitch, like you need to think about your life.
yeah.
Right.
And Jack like apologizes but doesn't, like in a way where he's like,
Yeah.
this was the right thing to do and I hate that it hurts you, but like
Right.
it was the right thing
He's
to
like,
do.
I'm sorry that it had to be this way, but it had to be this way.
Yeah. But that is like,
But that feels like that's right for his character.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at
It
it for
does,
happening.
yeah.
So it does just like it hurts a little bit.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a really intense way to end the episode. This episode is emotional more than it is like
Yeah.
crazy sci-fi.
It's a slow ramp. Like this is
Mhm.
probably one of the slowest starting episodes where it's just like the girl has a power source. Dun dun. And then the slow ramp to the world might be destroyed. And also we might have to nuke the base in 4 minutes. And Jack and Daniel are very upset with each other. And everyone might be eaten by replicators. And possibly the fate of the entire Asgard race is at stake too if we can't figure out how to like leverage Reese.
Yeah.
And then it's just over.
Yeah.
And they're calling each other stupid sons of bitches.
And everyone's crying.
And everyone's crying.
So yeah.
It's the ramp. It's the ramp that gets you. You start in, you're like, oh, it's just gonna be like a laid back episode. It's like a little laid back battle episode. And then by the end you're like, I had some feels.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I'm not unbiased. I really love this episode.
Yes. I know,
know.
I don't dislike it. I just I have a hard time when the emotional arc of the episode is written in a way that you're not supposed to be on Jack's side. Because I'm always on Jack's side. So
Right.
that's for me, that is a tricky place to be because like I get it and I feel for Daniel, but also I'm always on Jack's side.
Yeah, I had very mixed feelings about that, but I think I end up on the side of Jack because I think he
It's
did
very
do
wrinkly and it's bothering me.
things correctly. And I think
Yeah.
that like I mean, obviously Daniel got too emotional about it. So either way, he needs to
Yeah.
be taken out of the equation at some point. And so I thought Jack was the only one other than Hammond who wasn't getting too emotional and like was making moves. Because like Sam wasn't
Yeah.
emotional, but she wasn't making moves.
Yeah.
She was just kind of there. So
It was a little
I really
depressing,
liked this
this episode.
episode. Yeah.
Well, speaking of, so you were talking about who you liked and everything, so I guess that means it's a good time to say who you want to punch in the face.
I'd like to
Is this a
punch
weekly
Reese's.
segment?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to punch Reese's father because he has set everything up for failure.
He really did. He really did
Yeah.
fuck up pretty royally, yeah.
Doug, based on this episode, who would you like to punch in the face?
I didn't know that this was going to be a question.
Well, I probably should have told you.
Yeah.
At the end of every episode, we pick somebody who we want to punch in the face and someone who is our MVP of the episode. So like who was the worst and who was the best of the episode.
Interesting.
And sometimes they're like,
Can they both be Daniel?
Yes.
yes, absolutely.
Okay. He is my MVP. No, actually, no. Reese is Danielle Nicolette is my MVP because I think she did a really, really fantastic job as a guest star. Like that character is written well, but is so compelling because of how she plays her.
Yeah.
Right.
And particularly the interaction between her and Daniel is what really just drives everything and makes it jump off the page or jump off the screen in a way that I find really compelling. So I am nominating her as MVP. And I would like to punch all the Reese's Pieces in the face.
Fair enough.
Fair.
I am gonna punch Daniel in the face because I don't do well when he gets emotional. It bothers me, and I understand that that's probably not the correct decision. I think that the average viewer probably like sympathizes with him, but I never do. I'm just like, Daniel, stop fucking crying.
I have been known to sympathize with him, but
Yes.
I also know that he makes a lot of bad decisions when he
Yeah.
gets emotional. So
Yes. All right, so then Doug gave us his MVP. Who is your MVP?
I think I'm gonna go Jack. I understand he was the more brash one, but he, like I said, he wasn't emotional and he did make mostly the right moves. I'm a little skeptical that killing her was the right move because maybe that is going to mean the end of the world now, unless we find something other than the creator of the Reese's Pieces to kill them all. So that I'm a little hesitant to agree with him on, but for the most part, I agree with his tactics.
All right, I'm gonna go with Hammond because he made all of the correct decisions and also got to wear a badass t-shirt and gun combo.
He didn't let them bring Android back
No,
right at the start of the episode.
that's true. But to be fair, when they did bring her back, she wasn't turned on, and he wasn't in the room when they decided that they were going to turn her on. I didn't know that
they checked with him. When Jack came in and Carter was talking to Hammond, and she was like, "We're discussing whether or not to turn on the robot."
Yeah.
Yeah, Don't abstain him from any kind of culpability here. Buck stops with Hammond.
Yeah, poor Hammond is a great general. I don't know that he really knows what Sam is saying a lot of the time that she says things.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
All right. So, any thoughts, theories, predictions?
Well, I am concerned that this is bad, that she's dead for the future of multiple worlds. I do think Earth will come out okay because we got a lot of Stargate episodes coming up, but maybe not all the other worlds. We'll see. I don't know what's going on with the Asgards. I think Jack needs to pull out his FaceTime and call up his bestie Thor and
To be
figure
fair,
out what's up.
he's tried, but Thor is in another galaxy. Very
Well, I think he
occupied.
needs to like call him tens of times, like we're gonna do with Reese's Pieces,
Yeah.
and
He called
get
Thor
him
and he got a
to-
message back like, new phone, who dis?
right. Just try again. Keep trying. Figure it out.
Except it was in
Eventually,
Old Norse, so Daniel had to translate it. It was-
yeah,
the translation for new phone, who dis.
yeah. Eventually, Thor will get so annoyed he'll just beam him up and be like, "What do you want?" So unless they're dead. I don't know. I don't think they're dead though. They're the Asgards, so I don't feel like they're dead. Yeah, those are my thoughts, predictions, feelings.
All right. Do either of you have any last words about the menace?
I liked it.
10 out of 10. I'm gonna go rate it on IMDb right after this.
You should
Do it.
do it. My spoiler for next week, my little teaser, is that I'm obsessed with one of the guest stars. That's not really
Okay.
helping you at all with the information about the episode at all. But I'm really excited about it.
Do I know this guest star?
If you've watched Disney Channel's Luck of the Irish, then yes, you do.
For sure. I for sure
Yeah.
watched that. So
Yeah. So Doug's face is like, what is that?
I mean, I've watched Disney Channel's Luck of the Irish because I was a child, but I don't remember the names of the actors from it.
I don't know
I
their
didn't
names, but I know
I
their
didn't have an
faces.
I didn't have any kind of emotional attachment to the Luck of the Irish.
I did. It's my favorite Disney Channel original movie.
That's your favorite?
It's a tie between that one and Don't Look Under the Bed.
Hmm.
Ooh, that one did scare
Don't
me a
Look
little
Under
bit
the Bed
as a
is
kid.
Yeah. Although speaking of Disney Channel original movies, you saw the Halloween Town Wedding.
I
Ugh,
did. It was so precious.
so
Did you see that they said that they were gonna have an open bark because it was on Luna or whatever, their dog. They said
Yeah.
their dog sponsored their open bar, so they called it open bark.
I love that.
That was my favorite.
The girl who played Marnie in Halloween Town and the guy who played Cal, they got married.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like a week ago, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
that movie is very old.
It
Are they
is.
like 40?
It holds up though.
Yeah.
They're not that old.
I mean, like
They
the
might be 40
actors.
though.
No, the
like-
actors are like in their 30s, for sure.
Okay, because like I feel like I was like 11 or 12 when I watched that, and so the actors were probably older than that. So
Not
now
much
they have,
though.
I guess
It's not
it would be like-
much. She's like they're like late 30s.
late 30s.
Yeah.
Have they been dating continuously since then and only got married in their late 30s? It's a long courtship.
It is a long courtship.
Maybe there was some extenuating circumstances, like a family curse they had to clear first or something.
Probably.
Yeah.
Kimberly Brown is 39.
Yeah, long courtship.
Yeah. Oh, he's 45 though. Yeah, he was a little bit
You're
older.
right.
Still long courtship. Oh, maybe they like broke up and then reacquainted. And
Or maybe they didn't get
next week's
together till now.
podcast will be dedicated entirely to sussing out their relationship.
Perfect.
Yeah, don't worry.
All right. Well, with that, if you have any thoughts, theories, predictions, or desperately want to talk about the Halloween Town wedding, you can email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can follow us on all of the social media at Death and Aliens and stay tuned to that social media because Courtney is trying to learn how to use TikTok. If you want to talk to me, you can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
Do you have any social media you would like to plug?
You can't find me.
You can't.
What's the over under on whether Courtney learns how to use TikTok before or after it gets banned?
Oh, for sure before.
Yeah.
I have access to videos now. It's happening this
Yes.
week.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah. I created TikTok. I just haven't used it yet because I didn't have videos. So
Yeah.
I now have the videos. I'm ready to go.
Yes. All right. So, all right. We will see you on Thursday to continue spiraling into Hannibal.
Madness. Oh.
Which is excellent.
Bye.